What's going on, everybody? Mark the Mark here at WYK Radio, the podcast. First edition out tonight. Going over tonight's Raw. This is February 20, 2017 edition. The next to last before Fastlane. And we had Raw tonight, I guess. Really, Raw's gotten into this funk recently. Well, not even recently. Here in the last 6 months or so. Where really, they could shorten the program to, about 20 minutes. They fill the entire episode with filler material until the last 3 segments or so. Tonight's a perfect example of that. We had a number one contenders match just after the Kevin Owens promo to begin the show, which I do have to say it stands out as a far cry away from what they've been doing. And all they did was set Kevin Owens in the middle of a ring on a black folding chair, turn the lights off, put a spotlight on him, and let him go. And this was the Kevin Owens that everyone has seen before he got to NXT, before he got to WWE when he was on the indie circuit. This is the guy we've been waiting to see. Funny Kevin Owens is great. Love funny Kevin Owens. Much prefer this true heel Kevin Owens. Just the guy who you want to kick him in the dick. You do. You don't want to like him. Me, I'm a cheer the bad guys kind of guy. I love Kevin Owens. When he was Steen in the Indies, he was excellent. His promos were things you can't play if you're WWE. They wouldn't even do it on pay-per-view, some of the stuff he would do. It was excellent, and I loved it. And everyone who is a Kevin Owens fan, then Kevin Steen fan, loved what he was doing then. And he did it tonight. One of the first times in a long time. Didn't see Jericho tonight, and that's fine. We didn't need to see him tonight. We'll see him probably at Fastlane. We won't see him next week. I highly doubt it. We'll see him at Fastlane in one capacity or another. But let's get into tonight's episode. Where I was starting the Raw Tag Team number one contenders match. Sheamus and Cesaro, Enzo and Cass. Oh, Enzo. Okay, well, we need to slow down the Enzo and Cass train. They are spending far too much time on television. Their shtick is great. If you go back and listen to Jericho's podcast, when he did the Good Brothers episode, the Shop Talk episode, Talk is Shop, I think is what they call her, Talking Shop, with Enzo, and he talks about where that promo actually came from. It's a great story. But it also tells you how stale it's gotten. It's great. It's enjoyable the first 100 times you hear it. And we're well past that at this point. We hear it every week. And it's tired. Do they need to change their gimmick? No. Do they need to change their intro? Yes, they do. It's awesome that it's a chant now. The fans can jump in on it. I think that's fantastic. It gives them serious heat with the fans. In the good kind of heat, not the bad heat. Not the, what Kevin Owens had tonight, and not the normal other Samoan Joe heat. But the good heat that they can get from that. Also, Enzo needs to spend some time in the ring. Probably back at the Performance Center. He needs to live there. Enzo and Cass, they don't need to be on the road. Cass, yeah, put him on the road. Put him in there with anybody you want to. He's a great worker. He knows what he's doing. Let him do some single stuff. When it comes to TV, put them together. They're great together. It's very much old school Looney Tunes, big dog, yappy dog kind of scenario. I think that's why it takes so well, why everyone loves it so much, is because it harkens back to that, just with the little bit of Enzo edge that he can add in. But Enzo, and he said it in that podcast, he was not a performer. He was not an in-ring guy. He was just a talker. And it shows. It shows big time. Yeah, I've read it online from a few of the different podcast sources, all talking about it tonight, that really and truly, whenever it's a Enzo and Cass match, it's basically a 2-on-1 handicap because Enzo is virtually worthless. Now, that's not saying Enzo sucks. I love Enzo. He takes a bump as well. He and Sammy are really close together, Sami Zayn, on how well they can take a bump. Enzo can go a little further than that, nearly kill himself. Was worried there for a second when he took the brogue kick from Sheamus after the match. Which, to tell you my point about Enzo and Cass, the LA crowd, which, yes, it was an LA crowd, but they chanted, "Thank you, Sheamus." Somebody that they're booing at the beginning of the match. At the end of the match, the crowd's chanting, "Thank you," for bro kicking Enzo, and he falls flat on his ass. That's the problem here. So yeah, there needs to be some changes made there. But they're the number one contenders. I don't think that means a thing. I really, despite the fact that now 2 weeks in a row, you've had the Good Brothers themselves, the new club, whatever we want to call them, Anderson and Gallows, they've been squashed by Roman Reigns. And we'll get on that later, but I'm so tired of seeing this. Their booking has been horrendous since they showed up. They haven't had anything good booked for them yet. And they're holding the titles. So they've gotten that part, but they're not being booked well. And it's really starting to drive people nuts, and I'm one of them. Now, before the Reigns, Gallows, and Anderson match, you had Brian Kendrick and Akira Tozawa. I really feel bad for the ring crew. It's a purple match, so long vignettes, long breaks, come back. Before the match starts, Kendrick destroys Akira Tozawa. No match ever happens. Says Kendrick is interviewed backstage by a seemingly very cold, like chilly, backstage reporter. Said that it was going to be a lesson for Tozawa. The first lesson was in respect. Funniest thing I read online, where the next two is going to be loyalty and hustle. I enjoyed that. Now the Reigns, Gallows, and Anderson match. Gallows and Anderson did what they needed to do. They dominated Roman Reigns, bring in a chair. Reigns makes his necessary comeback, picks up the chair, and starts beating down on Gallows and Anderson. It was what it was. Second week in a row. Same thing. Burying your tag champs to Roman Reigns. For what? For what purpose? There's no reason, none, to bury your tag team champions to Roman Reigns, to the other Samoan Joe, the one that no one likes. It's pointless. Speaking of pointless and insane booking, Jinder Mahal and Rusev versus the New Day. The New Day come out. They've upgraded their ice cream plans. It's now digital. They walk out with an iPad. Then all of a sudden, cut to the ring, and you see Lana in there holding an iPad of her own. Now, the absolute line of the night comes from Big E. The whole gimmick is Lana starts reading off the plans, and they recognize them that it's absolutely the plans they're using. I can't remember if it was Kofi or if it was Xavier who asked, "How'd you get the plans?" And Big E said, "Well, she is Russian." obviously talking about the Russian hacking scandal. I don't know how Vince let that get through, since his wife is in the administration now. But it was terrible. It was an awful, awful match. They can do more. They're all capable of more. We've seen it with the New Day. We've seen it with Rusev. I guess we've seen it with Jinder. Although Jinder has hopped up on Brando. He's doing like 1,000 push-ups immediately before he comes through the curtain. He is veined out and jacked, and it's almost scary looking. And he's gotten huge quick. But the whole thing was terrible. The spot there towards the end was Xavier sneaks up behind Lana, blows on Francesca. Lana throws the iPad up into the air. Xavier catches it and smashes it. Obvious rib there on Xavier being the up, down, down host, the techie guy, the computer nerd in the locker room. So having him destroy an iPad live on television, it's an obvious rib at him. That part I enjoyed slightly just because I get the rib. Anyway, take a break, we come back. Contract signings. These are always wonderful television. We need more of these every week, said no one ever. Neville versus Jack Gallagher. You come out, Gallagher's out, Austin Aries in the ring, being Austin Aries, which, if you're not watching 205 Live, if you're not watching Monday Night Raw, regardless of whether you like the cruiserweights or not, if you're not watching it just to hear Austin Aries, you're missing out. Austin Aries is amazing on mic. He's hilarious. He's subversive. He will throw in anything. I posted on the Twitter account, the WYK Radio account at WYK Radio on Twitter and Instagram. A clip I took last week of the intro discussion on 205 Live involving Alicia Fox, just because of Austin Aries' line. It was amazing. So well done. No one caught it. I happened to hear it, recorded it, passed it along, and it's just been hilarious ever since. Definitely check that out. Instagram and Twitter, the same thing. WYK Radio on both. Check that out. Enjoy Austin Aries. As for the contract signing, it went how contract signings always go. This time with fine china, tea, and biscuits. You didn't watch? You didn't really miss anything. Nice headbutt from Gallagher, showing that while he is the true gentleman and Neville is not, that he can still hold his own. Gallagher showed well for himself there, but overall it was a contract signing. It was another throwaway segment. I'm not hating on it. It was what it was. But I do feel bad for the ring crew. They flipped the entire ring, coated everything with the purple, just to tear it right back off, because coming back out of it, your favorite and mine, Nia Jax in yet another squash match. Okay. Let's talk about where this Nia Jax thing is headed. Because she decided she was going to put the Raw Women's Champion on notice tonight. Well, everyone notices Nia Jax. No one reacts to Nia Jax, but everyone notices her. So she squashed a woman by the name of Sarah Pierce. Sorry, Sarah. Hope you enjoyed your paycheck. But you didn't have to go through a whole lot to get it, so good job. I appreciate that. Well done on your part. So, for me, obviously, where we're heading is a triple threat at WrestleMania between Bayley, the current champion, Charlotte, and Sasha Banks. That just, to me, that seems obvious where they're going. It's very similar to the spot they did last year with the triple threat with Becky Lynch, as opposed to Bayley in that match. And if you saw it at WrestleMania, It was great. It was well done. All three of them showed how well they can work. I think you do it again with Bayley this time. Bayley's a great worker. She sells incredibly well. And she's the uber baby face. So this leads to a couple of different things. I think we're going to see the Sasha Banks heel turn. And I think at WrestleMania is where she'll end up doing it. And I think she'll do it to pin Bayley to win the title. I think what you're going to see at Fastlane with Bayley Charlotte. Charlotte will obviously keep her pay-per-view streak going. Bayley will invoke her rematch clause for WrestleMania. In the interim, just like we saw tonight, which we'll talk about later, we had a result in yet another Charlotte-Sasha match, which was great. They can always fight. That's fine. Fight forever. They're just good together. But I think you're going to see the streak for Charlotte end there. You're going to see the heel turn for Sasha there, taking the title. And then Monday after Raw, the Monday after WrestleMania Raw, you're going to see Nia come out and squash Sasha, take the belt, and hold it for, I hope, 3 months. But she's got to do some things in the meantime, because she got an absolute 0 from the crowd tonight. Nothing. And she's going to continue to get nothing until something changes. People are not down with her gimmick. Her charisma borders on Roman Reigns for how dry and cold she is. We don't care. We just don't care right now, guys. I'm sorry. We don't give a shit. She shows up, she squashes somebody, and that's it. She doesn't wrestle. She's just big and powerful. We saw tonight, and we'll get into this later, what happens when someone who is big and powerful can wrestle. And we saw something very good. We'll get into that in a minute. But that's where I think the whole 4 top women in the Raw division are going right now. I could be entirely wrong. I probably am. But that's kind of where I feel like it should be going. I don't know if it's going to go there, but I'm good with that. Next up, we went back-to-back women's matches. We had the long Bayley promo giving her crowning glory, letting her, go out in front of the fans and receive their love. Stephanie McMahon comes down, tries to talk Bayley out of giving the belt up. Stephanie played it perfectly. She was excellent tonight. You always hear about that. Oh, we're just so tired of seeing Stephanie all the time. I don't want to see her anymore. She's terrible. Shut up. She did it well tonight. She was on point, not just in that segment, but in a different segment as well. She was absolutely on it tonight. Well done. Furthering storylines. Really enjoyed the way she went about those. So Stephanie nearly has Bayley talked into giving up her title. Sasha comes down. Sasha convinces, we think she convinced Bayley to keep it. I honestly don't think Bayley was ever interested in keeping it. Or Bayley was ever interested in giving it up. She, with the other line of the night, just turns and says, do I want to give this up? Hell no, I don't want to give this up. This is my title. Good on her. Breaking her character there a little bit, dropping a little language in. Nothing major, and it made the point. It was well accepted. She got a nice pop for it. Soon after, Charlotte comes down, and of course, when Sasha came down, she was in her ring gear. When Charlotte comes out, she's in her ring gear. Obviously, what was going to happen was a Charlotte-Sasha match, and that's what we got. But there was nothing new that came out of it, really. We already knew Charlotte and Bayley were going to be facing off at Fastlane. The only thing we really got new out of it was another Sasha-Charlotte match, which started in the commercial break, so unless you were there, you didn't see the beginning of it. And it was fine. It was not their over-the-top 30, 40-minute matches that they can have. It was much shorter. Charlotte was in control the vast majority of the time. Sasha got her comeback. Down comes Dana Brooke in what can loosely be referred to as a run in down the ramp. Was more like a controlled jog of someone with very stiff legs. Bayley was on commentary, which of course now is at the top of the ramp. Chased her down, and Bayley hit... Wow, Bayley hit her in the back. And Dana just ate the mat coming right off the ramp. Luckily, there was no blood. I was convinced there were going to be a few teeth left in the mat. She hit her face hard. Good on you for taking the bump. You really sold it well. I don't know if it was meant to be that hard, but it was quite enjoyable. Good to see a heel take that kind of bump from a babyface every once in a while. Quite a bit of fun there. But it was what it was. Bank statement. It was over. Sasha tapped out. Charlotte took the win. Then we get the match that came from the beginning of the night, which was Kevin Owens. After his promo, decided he was going to just go ahead and leave. He was done for the night. Caught on the way out by Foley. Foley says, "No, you're not done. You got a match with Sami Zayn." So we get both matches back to back that we were told we were never going to see again. Charlotte Sasha, Sami Kevin. Got them back to back. Now, we didn't really get a Kevin Owens Sami Zayn fight. Didn't really, because Samoa Joe runs in. Samoa Joe is playing the enforcer role incredibly well right now. I'm really enjoying what he's doing. It's just fabulous. He is the destroyer. He is being the badass big guy that he can be. There's no real acknowledgement between Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens, which for me is a good thing. They're maintaining their connection just through Triple H. There's no connection between them, just that they're both following the orders of the man in charge, which I enjoy. I'm good with that. And Samoa Joe absolutely destroyed Sami. Rolled him back in the ring. Sami said, "No, I can fight. No, he couldn't. He was sat down in the corner, cannonball, another cannonball, pop-up powerbomb, done. KO wins. No sweat even broken. And by the way, this was 2 hours and 40 minutes into Raw. 2 hours and 40 minutes in. So when I'm talking about that there's just a whole lot of filler until you get to some good segments, this is your perfect example. 2 hours and 40 minutes into Raw until we get something that's vaguely interesting. Then we get Stephanie McMahon's second great performance of the night. The angle that they're having to play since Mick Foley's going to be going out for hip replacement. You can tell he's hurting. When your face is red, you can tell, and he hadn't done anything yet. You can tell he's in pain. So he's going to go and get that done. But they're going to make him look strong while he does it, which is a good thing. He stood up to Stephanie tonight, called her out on her crap. Quite enjoyed it. Stephanie played it well. Mick played it well. Go back and watch the segment. It was enjoyable, and we now know how they're going to write Mick out. They're probably going to be some sort of quote accident. I see Vince McMahon's limo exploding again, but Foley would never be caught dead in a limo. So there's no telling what way they're going to write him off, but it'll definitely be something involving a hip injury that's going to require major surgery. So they'll cover that way. Following that, we had what would be considered odd-looking, unconventional, but absolutely fantastic promo from Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar. Michael Cole had a sit-down interview. Brock's sitting there, Paul's talking. Go and watch this. It was vintage Paul Heyman. The man can sell ice cream in the wintertime in Chicago on the frozen lake. He can do whatever he wants. He's outstanding. He knows it. We know it. Everyone knows it. It's fine. The best part of this, Brock picks up Michael Cole's chair and puts it directly in front of the camera and sits down, most of the time blocking out Paul Heyman behind him as he speaks on his behalf. Very effective promo. Enjoyed it quite a bit. Really interested to see if it's possible we're going to end up with Brock Lesnar with the title again after WrestleMania. I think the odds are pretty high that we're going to see that. I don't know how I feel about it, though. It depends on if Brock Lesnar is going to come back more full time. I can't see Raw creating a new title, a Universal title, leaving it on one person this long, on Kevin Owens, to have him lose it to Goldberg, have Goldberg lose it to Brock Lesnar, and then Brock Lesnar take it off television to be a part-timer. I can't see it. I don't see the benefit of it unless the idea is to get rid of it and bring something else in. Maybe bring back Big Gold. That would be okay. We would all love to see that. Because the Universal title only has one thing universal about it, and that's the hatred for it. No one really likes it. It's the ketchup belt. No one enjoys the ketchup belt. So finally, Braun Strowman, Big Show. All night long, they're hyping up that they're going to reinforce the ring. I think they said it 5 or 6 times during the night. The ring will be reinforced for Big Show versus Braun Strowman. It's 800 pounds of men, although it's really only about 700 and change. So they reinforce. They even show we're going to reinforce the ring. They show them reinforcing the ring. Obviously, you're going to have a collapsing ring spot, but it didn't happen. So good on you. Sold it. Made us think we were going to get something and didn't get it. Good with that. Like a surprise every once in a while. Braun Strowman hit a nip up. Again, if you go back to Jericho's podcast, one of the Talking Shop podcasts, where Braun Strowman, I think it's the episode where they're in Shanghai. Kids, don't listen to it. Adults, please listen to it. It's hilarious. And you'll find out why him hitting that nip up is a rib. It's a definite rib. And it was enjoyable when I saw him hit it. I absolutely knew what just happened and why. Go and listen to that. Go listen to Jericho's podcast. Again, it's the Talking Shop episode live in Shanghai. And plus, you'll just enjoy that particular brand of that podcast if you're anything like me. The match was actually very good. Big spots. There weren't any no-sells. You would think 2 big guys are going to no-sell one another. No, they didn't. They played up each other's strengths. They kicked out of covers. We had chokeslam, kick out. Suplex, kick out. We had a high spot with a kick out. We had a KO punch with a kick out. The first power slam that Strowman hit, not great. Had a kick out. And I think that was on the fly. Then Strowman immediately hit a running power slam again, right after the one that was not great looking for the 3 count. The good pickup by Show and Strowman to do that spot again looked much better the second time. Honestly think getting Strowman up that quick, he went underneath Big Show. He was going for a splash off the second rope. in the corner to get him to scramble up underneath Show to then scoop him up and running power slam him again. I think it just gassed him. And that's fine. And you could tell he was still gassed for the second go around. He was having a hard time keeping him up. And the guy is a legit strongman competitor. So that weight wasn't the problem. I think he was gassed. But still, it was a great match. Go back and watch it. Really enjoyed seeing it. And then for the second time of the night, we get Roman Reigns music. Can we just please turn him heel? My opinion is that in the next draft, I hope WCW drafts him. And before you say WCW doesn't exist anymore, you didn't get the joke. I'm tired of seeing him. I'm tired of hearing his music twice a week, every week. The one thing I've noticed about Roman, I haven't gotten anybody to push back on me about this yet. Watch a Roman Reigns match, and you can count on one finger or less the number of times he's going to use his left hand. He never uses his left hand. Everything is right-handed. I don't know if it's supposed to be a play up on his right shoulder and arm is where all his tribal work is, where all his Samoan work is. If that's the crux of his strength, okay, fine. Didn't seem to be a problem for Rock. Doesn't seem to be a problem for Nia Jax. But for some reason, Roman is magic. We're tired of seeing Roman Reigns, guys. If you're listening to this, first off, thank you for finding me, WWE. We're really tired of seeing Roman Reigns doing the same moves over and over again. I can almost predict a match depending on who he's facing. It's not hard to do. You're going to get corner clotheslines to the count of 10. You're going to get Superman punches. You're going to get the drive-by. Which, by the way, let's talk about the drive-by really quick. One reason that they got rid of the great finisher that our new hero, Seth freaking Rollins, had, the curb stomp, was not so much how it looked, but what it was called. It's called a curb stomp. Roman Reigns has a drive-by. A drive-by. What the fuck? If you're going to be upset about one, be upset about both. Now, I understand when they were coming in as a Shield, they had this badass attitude, kind of gang feel to them. Okay, cool. But if you're going to get rid of one, get rid of the other. Plus, it's a garbage move. It's absolutely garbage. The last 5 times he's run it, it's basically involved his opponent stumbling around outside the ring and then just so happens to drop their head onto the edge of the apron so that he can run by and give him a drive-by. It's garbage. It's absolutely garbage. We want to joke about John Cena's 5 moves of doom. He doesn't need... Roman Reigns doesn't even have that many moves of doom. He's got like 3. The only difference is he does them out of order, where Cena's always in the same order all the time. So, all in all, that was Raw. We covered it in 30-something minutes. Okay, great. Here's why you go and watch it. Go to the last 35 minutes. None of the rest of it matters. Doesn't matter at all. It was the last 30 minutes, 40 minutes was excellent, well done, well played up on television. The first 2 hours and 30 minutes, total dog shit. Complete and utter garbage. A dumpster fire. Worthless. So go watch the last 40 minutes or so of the episode. Really enjoyed that part. Aside from that, there's nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see here. Unless you like garbage fires. Then, sure, go for it. Of course, unless you were following on Twitter, you wouldn't have known. The Rock was in attendance and made 2 appearances, both off television. before and after they were shooting the documentary on Paige and her family, doing the AJ Lee Paige fight after Raw tonight. We're shooting that for Paige's documentary, rockumentary. It's a rockumentary. That's what they were shooting tonight. But he came out beforehand as well, was doing various catchphrases that were not his. It was funny. And he got cut off at the end by Vince. Seemed pretty cool. Comes back out at the end, and the crowd starts chanting CM Punk because, again, the match that they're shooting for the movie is AJ Lee versus Paige. Of course, AJ Lee being AJ Brooks now, being CM Punk's wife. They start chanting CM Punk, and they keep going. So The Rock says, okay, fuck it. Takes out his cell phone and tries to call CM Punk. Go find the video online. You'll see what it was. Just another understanding of how Rock understands audiences, how he understands people, and how to get the most out of them. Really well done. And I think I read on Twitter right afterwards, Punk posted that he was out walking his dog. It was his birthday or something like that. That's the reason why he didn't answer the call and it went to voicemail. But the entire crowd in Rock left a voicemail for him. Good spot, good segment afterwards. Definitely find it online. Aside from that, let me know what you think. I, for one, let's borrow something from Meltzer here. From between 0 and 5 stars, I give this like a -4. It was a bad episode. It was not. This being my first episode of WYK Radio, radio. I hate to start it on this episode of Raw because it was not good. Hopefully, I just saved you about 2 hours and 20 to 30 minutes of your life, so you don't have to do that. 5/6 of your normal Raw spending time can be saved. Now you can go plant flowers or go jerk off or I don't know, go take a really nice shit. Doesn't matter to me, but you don't have to spend your time watching Raw. Tomorrow is SmackDown. We all know that's going to be better because SmackDown's better. For those of us who are marks or smarks or any form of wrestling fan who's watched it since the draft, we are all fully aware that, SmackDown's a better product right now. I'm totally fine with that too. I quite enjoy SmackDown. Interested to see how they're going to write Daniel Bryan out with the impending birth of his new baby. He's doing all the hard work where he just kind of lays around. But that's normal for women. That's no big deal. Anyway, I look forward to that tomorrow. Again, thank you for listening. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. Both are WYK Radio. Also find us on Facebook at Radio. Search us out there. You can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on TuneIn and iTunes, and hopefully soon the Google Play Store, or here on my Podbean website. Check out my sponsors, 1&1 Internet and Sonos. Thank you to those guys for being loyal sponsors. They have to be super loyal because it's episode 1, so they're doing a great job, and I'm so happy that they've taken the commitment and bringing me on. It was great of them to do. It was awesome. So if you're into finding hosting for your website or domain names, check out 1&1. If you're into music or just hearing my lovely voice cascade through your home through a simple connected device with amazing audio, that's Sonos. Check that out. I have 2 of them myself. I love them. But again, thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you soon, unless, well, you know. the entire crowd in Rock left a voicemail for him. Good spot, good segment afterwards. Definitely find that online. Aside from that, let me know what you think. I, for one, let's borrow something from Meltzer here. From between 0 and 5 stars, I give this like a -4. It was a bad episode. It was not. This being my first episode of WYK Radio, radio. I hate to start it on this episode of Raw because it was not good. Hopefully, I just saved you about 2 hours and 20 to 30 minutes of your life, so you don't have to do that. 5/6 of your normal Raw spending time can be saved. Now you can go plant flowers or go jerk off or I don't know, go take a really nice shit. Doesn't matter to me, but you don't have to spend your time watching Raw. Tomorrow is SmackDown. We all know that's going to be better because SmackDown's better. For those of us who are marks or smarks or, any form of wrestling fan who's watched it since the draft, we are all fully aware that, SmackDown's a better product right now. I'm totally fine with that too. I quite enjoy SmackDown. Interested to see how they're going to write Daniel Bryan out with the impending birth of his new baby. He's doing all the hard work where he just kind of lays around. But that's normal for women. That's no big deal. Anyway, I look forward to that tomorrow. Again, thank you for listening. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, on Instagram. Both are WYK Radio. Also find us on Facebook at Radio. Search us out there. You can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on TuneIn and iTunes, and hopefully soon the Google Play Store, or here on my Podbean website. Check out my sponsors, 1&1 Internet and Sonos. Thank you to those guys for being loyal sponsors. They have to be super loyal because it's episode 1, so they're doing a great job, and I'm so happy that they've taken the commitment and bringing me on. It was great of them to do. It was awesome. So if you're into finding hosting for your website or domain names, check out 1&1. If you're into music or just hearing my lovely voice cascade through your home through a simple connected device with amazing audio, that's Sonos. Check that out. I have 2 of them myself. I love them. But again, thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you soon, unless, well,